How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Fam, and we are back with another FPL live stream. And if you are watching this over on YouTube for the VOD, make sure to come join us for the live streams. They're a lot of fun, and you can get interactive with the chat and get live feedback on your team if you want. It's a whole lot of fun. I like doing the streams. It's a little bit more personal, a little more. It's different, basically, rather than just talking straight to the camera and then putting up a video later on and then going in the comments. You get live interaction, which is fantastic. But we are here for the Game Week 5 preview stream. So, we're going to be taking a look at how my game week went, as well as our predictions and clean sheet and differential picks for the following week as we normally do. We'll be updating the watch list, and we'll be taking a look at potential transfers, as well as the fixtures for the upcoming week as well. It's a Friday kickoff start time this week, which means we'll be doing our deadline stream on the Thursday evening, and we'll just be posting it over on YouTube as a kind of a live VOD as well. So yeah, all the usual stuff. The week went probably about not as terrible as what it could have gone. It was an okay week, you know, got a small red arrow, but we have a little bit more problems to deal with, I think, this week than we did last week. So without further ado, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout. So if you haven't done so already, you gotta check out Fantasy Football Scout. I mean, it's a fantastic website. They have an exclusive members area, which you can just pay £25. I think it's $24.99. And they have a preseason offer, which is 20% off as well. But you can get it throughout the season, and you can get access to heat maps, customizable stats tables powered by Opta stats. It's gonna help elevate your FPL game. It's helped mine out significantly as well. And there'll be a link in the About section, or if you're watching this over on YouTube on the VOD, it's a link down in the description below, so make sure to check that out. So without further ado, let's see how the team did, and we'll welcome everyone to the stream. How's it going, Tomo? Glad that you could join us. I'm doing okay. Hope you're doing good as well. So yeah, as you can see, we got 70 points. So normally that would be enough for a green arrow, but we took a -4. We took out the likes of Wilson and Heung-min Son, as well as Harvey Barnes. Those players would have got me a total of 2 points. And we brought in Mason Mount, we brought in Ismail Assar, who would have got me 2 points. Well, we brought in Ronaldo and captained him over the likes of Fernandez, who would have got us less points. So we definitely made up on that scenario because we had 2 players that were injured. So you're always going to likely make up for the hit almost immediately. So I think we did okay there. The benching of Mason Mount kind of concerns me a little bit, but it won't be too worrying as of yet. We'll see kind of how things go. Maybe it's because Mason Mount played quite a few minutes for England. We'll have to see. But although Kai Havertz played quite a lot for Germany, so not really sure what happened there. So we'll have to kind of monitor that situation. But originally the team was Sanchez in goal, who got us 6 points, with Veltman getting 6 points. He ended up getting a bonus point after being booked. So, hey, we'll take that. 12 points. Not too bad. So the rotation is finally working, as it were. So how many, I'm curious actually, how many clean sheets have we gotten from Brighton? So we got, I believe it's just the 2. But we played Tsimikas in the first couple of games. Yeah, so basically now that we've started using the rotation, we're 1-1 basically. So we got a clean sheet from Sanchez and none from Ayling thus far. So it's okay. It's working out. It's working out as intended. Tsimikas did his job, and now he's going back down to 4 million most likely. Yeah, so Sanchez and Veltman, fantastic. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 12 points, getting an assist as well. It was to Salah, which is kind of disappointing, but you know, Salah scoring a goal, it's not to be unexpected. It was kind of just disappointing that it was like, oh, Trent got the assist. Oh, Salah scored. You know, couldn't have been Trent to Mane. That would have been better. But yeah, we'll definitely take those points. Luke Shaw getting 5 points as well. He got an assist even though he conceded, which was, you know, again, United conceding another goal, not keeping a clean sheet, which is getting a little bit on the frustrating side. but hopefully United will eventually get over that. You thought the Newcastle game would have been nailed on for a clean sheet. Unfortunately, it was not. Luke Ayling coming off the bench, so we thought we would have Mason Mount in. We didn't. He got 0 points. Gilmore didn't play either, so he got 0 points. Simicast didn't come on and got 0 points, so Ayling got 1 point. So at least we had somebody coming off the bench. And he basically just counteracted Antonio's -1. So Antonio getting sent off means he's suspended for a game because he got 2 yellows. So if you get a straight red, typically you get suspended for 3 games unless you appeal and win the appeal or whatever. And it'd be 3 games normally. But if you get 2 yellows, it's a 1-game suspension, which isn't too bad because it's against Man United, which is good for our FPL teams because that means I don't have to play Antonio against Man United or have him play against my team, which is great. So it kind of works out. But it's these 2 fixtures, Brentford at home, Leeds away. Those are the 2 that I want to keep him and Benrahma for and then get rid of them before they have this kind of run here. So in the next 6 games after that, there's City, Liverpool, and Spurs. All in those games. So with Wolves away, which isn't ideal, like and the easier fixtures are away games, so it's not ideal for those ones as well. Benrahma, just the 3 points. No reason to jump off the ship yet, as it were. I've had him since the start. Got 2 12s, a 2 and a 3. So if you average that across, that's what, 24, 29 points. Divide that out by 4. You're looking at, how many times is 4 going to 20? Well, 4 goes into 24 6 times, 7 times. So he's averaging 7 points a game so far. So I would say if he goes on, let's say he blanks versus United, which is probably going to happen, or would be very likely to happen. If he blanks versus Leeds and Brentford, then I would definitely be concerned. Because I think that he should be doing well. So I'm going to personally keep him. I'm going to also see if I can hang on to Antonio as well, because I think that the fixtures after the United game are still quite good. They were unfortunate not to get anything in their last, the last couple of games. I mean, a 0-0 versus Southampton, I mean, I don't think I was even remotely considering that as prediction. So, yeah, it was a bit strange on that one. Fernandez getting himself a goal, so I'm glad we kept him, obviously over Son, because Son was injured, yeah, got himself a goal. He scored 4 open play goals so far, so he knows that he's probably not on penalties anymore, so he's like, well, I got to start scoring from open play, and if he can keep doing that, then he should be fine. But I think that he's probably going to be leaving my team this week, because we do have Ronaldo as kind of United cover, and Ronaldo's going to be more of the focal point. And he's just going to be the make way for Salah, who we're probably going to captain this week, specifically because his fixture is better than Ronaldo's. He's versus Crystal Palace at home, and usually Liverpool do some serious damage versus Palace. So we'll be looking at that. Sarr, he had chances to get points. I saw the highlights back. He had a chance for an assist, had a potential chance that he could have put away as well. That was kind of like, it wasn't necessarily a half chance, but it wasn't also a bad chance either. But now he's got Norwich, Newcastle, and Leeds. So hopefully, I mean, the 3 of those teams, they're all leaky. They all do concede goals. So we're going to definitely hope that he can get something there. Danny Ings, I mean, he had potential chances. Watkins, if he had squared it to him, could have had an easy tap in as well. But that Everton defense does look very shaky, even versus a terrible Burnley team. So hopefully Ings can get us something in that game before we potentially get rid of him in game week 6. And then lastly, I mean, what can you say? Ronaldo's the guy. He is the absolute he's just the master. He's the best. He is the GOAT. Getting 2 goals. I mean, one of them was an absolute gift. The second one, somewhat fortunate on the finish. Going through the keeper's legs, but hey, your job as a striker is to put the ball on target and eventually put the ball in the back of the net, and he did that. So glad that we brought him in, glad that we captained him. He ended up being the exact same as Lukaku, although I do think Lukaku had to definitely do more for his 2 goals than Ronaldo did. But at the end of the day, I am very, very happy with him in my team as of now. So we're hoping that he can do some more damage. And yeah, Mason Mount was originally in the team, but Ayling came on as a sub. So overall, not too displeased. You know, out of the players that could have potentially hurt me, it was mainly Salah, Jota, Lukaku getting 2 probably didn't help. And then DCL probably would have been the other one, but Jota didn't get anything. But it was Salah scoring and Lukaku getting 2, which probably didn't help our chances, as it were. Antonio actually getting sent off was actually a good thing, even though we owned him, because he was above 100%, which was very, very odd. How do you feel about Ronnie getting a brace on his second debut? Must have been a huge nostalgia as a United fan. It was fantastic. It was absolute. Like, I mean, he couldn't have asked for an easier goal to start it off as well, because United didn't play well at all, but they scored 4. So, what can you say? It's just really weird. Like Chelsea, I thought Chelsea didn't play particularly well either, but they also won 3-0. Like, after Chelsea's first goal, there was large portions of the game until they scored their second where basically Aston Villa were just running the show, and it was mainly because Saul was not up to speed at all. I don't know why they just threw him into the fire like that. Dean Smith came with a very good plan as well, but yeah. It is what it is. Managers make changes, and they adjust, and they make it so that their team can come out on top. And that's what good managers do. And Solskjaer is going to have to learn how to do that as well, making changes at the right time. And I thought his changes were fine. He probably could have brought on Donny sooner. He probably could have potentially brought on Martial sooner. But, yeah, it is what it is. But, yeah, definitely a big nostalgia factor for Ronaldo. Now, let's bring up our predictions here that we had for last week. So here were the games that were played. And on the right there, you can see our tweets for our game week 4 predictions for the game week. So, we had Crystal Palace versus Spurs 3-0. I don't think I got that one right. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think I got that one right. I don't think anyone predicted that. I mean, the red card, it was definitely justified for sure. Like Tanganga, 2 yellows. I mean, don't know what he's doing going to ground, especially right in front of the ref. It just didn't make sense. And then from then Spurs were just parking the. I mean, Spurs' team off the start was very negative. Without Son, they just looked like they were never scoring. And Crystal Palace just put them to the sword when they brought on Edouard. So, yeah, definitely a good win for Palace. So we got that one wrong. And if you don't know how our predictions work, and if you wanted to play along with us as well, basically we do 3 points if you get the exact score right. So you get the score and the result right. 1 point if you get just the result right. So had I predicted Palace win 1-0, I get 1 point. And if you don't get anything right, you get no points. So a little X mark, as you can see there. Arsenal versus Norwich, I predicted 2-0. They ended up winning 1-0. I mean, could Arsenal have really scored more? I think Norwich could have potentially had a shout for scoring as well. But hey, I predicted 2-0. Arsenal won 1-0. At the end of the day, it's 3 points, and they'll take it. Brentford versus Brighton. Now, this was an intriguing one. It was 0-0 all the way up until the very end, and then Trossard managed to bend one around Rhea and put it in the back of the net, and they ended up taking the victory 1-0. I thought it was going to be a higher scoring draw. I thought both teams were going to go at each other and leave spaces at the back. But they didn't do that. It was very tight, very hotly contested. I think Brentford definitely showed bits in the game where, you know, they definitely belong in the Premier League and will challenge teams. But I got that one wrong. I predicted 2-2. Man City versus Leicester. It was 1-0. I predicted 2-1. So we get just the 1 point again. United versus Newcastle. I predicted 3-0 for Manchester United. It ended up being 4-1. So I got it by the same scoreline. Guess I was clean sheet hopeful. So just the 1 point there. West Ham versus Southampton. Now, I couldn't have been more wrong on this one. Southampton showing some grit, showing some determination, and getting the 0-0. They'll definitely take that, especially the way West Ham started the season off. I believe West Ham, the back-to-back draws. They had a 2-2 and then a 0-0. So West Ham will be disappointed. Southampton will be happy with the point, I would assume. So they would definitely take that. Me personally, I predicted 3-1, so I got that one wrong as well. Wolves versus Watford, I predicted 2-0. Ended up being 2-0 for Wolves, so we got that one right, so we get 3 points. As well as the Chelsea-Villa game, Lukaku's late goal meant my prediction was correct, and I got 3 points there as well. So back-to-back correct predictions. Liverpool versus Leeds was close. I thought I thought Leeds would get one, but didn't in the end, so just the 1 point there. And then Everton versus Burnley, 2-1 I predicted. Rafa Benitez went 1 extra, and 3-1. I mean, it was a crazy second half in that one. So just the 1 point there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 6 is 11 points in total, which is tied for our best in Gameweek 2. So we're doing really good on predictions thus far. Clean sheet, we got correct, so that was Wolves. Jordan Pickford, I don't believe he saved any penalties or anything like that, so he didn't do too hot. John Stones didn't actually play, funnily enough. So yeah, he's not in the picks so far. Traore, I don't believe he got an assist. No, it was just Marcel. And so Jimenez and Traore, they're on the goals and minute table for forever, basically. So only 1 out of the 5 for the differential. So the picks were correct, the differentials were not. So just the 11 points or the 11 points there, but the 1 out of 5 is obviously we want to do a little bit better when predicting differentials because we want to give you guys some good picks to have for your team. As Jones mentioned, the Harvey Elliott injury was heartbreaking. I mean, for a young player, you never want to see them have a long-term injury, which this one could potentially be. A dislocation or a significant break or something of that nature where it's going to require several months. If I had to guess, I would say he's probably not going to be back anything before the start of the new year, probably in training. I would say the earliest, probably end of January, back in training and ready to go, because 4 months. But yeah, you don't want to see that. In my personal opinion, do I think the tackle from Strauch was malicious or anything like that? No, I thought it was a perfectly reasonable tackle. It's just the back leg, the way it came through on Harvey Elliott's standing leg, which got trapped into the ground and basically caused it to dislocate. That, in my opinion, is just unfortunate. I personally think that Leeds were hard done by on that. I think the referee went and said, because the referee was like playing on at the time. He didn't even see anything. He thought the tackle was perfectly good. And then they looked on VAR and was like, well, he broke the guy's leg, or at least that's what they thought initially. He broke Elliott's leg, so he has to be sent off, which I think is a little bit of a poor decision personally, because once the red card happens, Leeds are never winning the game. They're never coming back ever. I think it was just unfortunate. It was not like Strauch went in lunging 2 feet and he snapped his leg. If there was no injury, if he had just been rolling along, like if he had just pulled like he's Richarlison or Mane, the typical players that that roll around on the floor when they feel that somebody went in hard on them, even though it's not necessarily the most contact in the world, and they'll roll around and whatnot. And then if he had the referee said get up or he got back up, it might not even been a card because Strauch actually wins the ball, genuinely wins the ball. I've seen the point of contact. At the point of contact where he hits Elliott's leg, it's just his back leg, it's his trailing leg, and at that point, Strauch's winning the ball at the same time, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it, with the tackle, personally. I've seen a lot worse. Like Xhaka's as an example the other day. He comes off the ground with both feet. Yes, he doesn't get much of Cancelo, but it's the intent that's the red card. I'm just trying to think of another example. I think it was Balbuena for West Ham. When he went to go clear the ball, his foot came down and cleated like somebody's thigh or whatever, but it was his follow through after he kicked the ball. Like, what's he supposed to do after he kicks the ball? Like, his foot's supposed to vanish? Like, it's just one of those things where it's just unfair. It's the same as the injury Andre Gomez got against Spurs. Yeah, I mean, it's something like that. Was Son trying to trying to intentionally hurt him? No, but I think Son also got sent off for it as well. Because they were like, oh, well, that's terrible. So they sent him off because of the injury. So what's going to happen now? If somebody goes in for a 50-50 challenge, like they go shoulder to shoulder or something like that, when they're jumping up in the, jumping up in the air, or we use basketball as an example. Two players go up for a rebound, and one guy is a bit stronger than the other, gets the ball, gets the rebound. The other guy comes down awkwardly and snaps his ankle as he comes down on the ground. He's going to get ejected for that? No, of course not. It's just unfortunate in that circumstance, and it is unfortunate even more so because of, Elliott was starting to make his name in the first team. He had a great loan spell at Blackburn Rovers, and it looked like he was going to be the next big thing for Liverpool in their midfield from their academy. So Jones says, I don't think it would have been a red if he had gotten the injury. Basically, yeah. And it's the same as Andre Gomez, yeah. So, again, it's unfortunate. Stroud getting sent off means Leeds have basically no centre-backs now, which is good if you're Newcastle. Because that's who they play next. Yeah, I think it's just a bit unfortunate. I think there's also a chance that his red card gets rescinded as well. I think it's just they sent him off because of the fact that, or at least the game is reduced down to one game rather than 3, because he feels hard done by there. I think he was hard done by. In fairness to him, he got the ball. It's just the right leg caught early. Yeah, it's literally his leg. When Strauch slides, so when you tackle, typically you have one leg pointing like that, and then you have your other leg as like the, your bottom leg kind of tucked underneath like this, and that's the leg that pokes the ball away or hooks it away. It's not like he went in two-footed like that. He didn't go in two-footed. He had his other leg trailing behind him. Harvey Elliott's leg happened to be planted at the time, and his leg didn't release from the ground basically, and Strauch went over his leg, and obviously it caused his ankle to dislocate because of that. Was Strauch's challenge a bit forced? Was it a bit heavy in terms of the speed? There's arguments for that. You could say that. You could say no, it was a perfectly good, strong challenge. Or some people might say it's a bit over the top. There's definitely arguments to be made there. But was he intending to? Was he going in, going, yeah, I'm going straight for his leg? No, he clearly wins the ball, and you can see his intention. So it is what it is. I'm fairly sure Son's red card got overturned for his tackle. Yeah, I mean, if it did, then that's good. But the problem is, at the time, it's the immediate, it's the knee-jerk type of reaction. It's, oh, his foot's hanging off, or his leg's broken, or he got badly injured, therefore the other guy must get sent off. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. To me, it's too reactionary. It's, oh, this guy got badly hurt, therefore it must be a red. There's no questions asked whatsoever. Like, I'm not even sure that the I can't even remember. Did the referee go over and check the VAR monitor, or did they just tell him in his ear, "Oh yeah, it's a red card. It's because of the injury"? Because I don't think he ever went over to the actual monitor itself, unless I wasn't paying attention. But I don't remember. I think it was Craig Paulson, whatever his name is, was refereeing. I don't remember him going over to the monitor. But fair play to Salah though, because Salah was the one, like the second he saw it, he was like, yo, get over here, stop. So fair play to him, because he picked it up immediately. And had he not, I mean, it looked like Elliott wanted to get up and start running again. I was like, yo, chill. Yeah. If he went in with force, it's definitely a red, but there was no force in the tackle. Yeah, I mean, it probably had slightly more force than your average standing tackle, but it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't like Xhaka. Xhaka's the other day, when he got sent off, he hardly clips Cancelo, but he literally comes off both feet and goes flying in. And that you can see has intent. You can see that he's out of control of his tackle, whereas Strauch had full control of his tackle because he went in, hooked the ball away, and immediately was able to play the ball. But like I said, eventually you might see somebody who's going to go. They're both going to go up for a header or something. They're both going to go up for a header. Somebody's going to be a bit stronger in like the shoulder charge, because both players are going to go up like that, and one player is going to come down on their leg and potentially like break their ankle or leg or something like that's going to happen. And then you're going to see the player get sent off, which isn't right, because I think both players are challenging genuinely for the ball. And it's just because it's the reactionary, oh, he got hurt really badly, therefore it must be a red. It was dangerous. He must have meant it, like, or it was so dangerous that he broke his leg. Well, clearly it wasn't. You know, it is what it is. I mean, eventually you might start seeing, oh yeah, that guy just shot the ball and hit the goalkeeper in the face and got him concussed. Oh, he got badly injured in the head, therefore it must be a red. Like, no, that's just nonsense. Yeah, it is what it is. Unfortunately, the red card ruined the game. We obviously wish Harvey Elliott the quickest recovery, because I think he's a fantastic young player, even if he does play for Liverpool, which would be a rival of United's. But I think he's a great player. He's fun to watch, and he was something different in their midfield as well. So, yeah, like I said, hopefully fast recovery, get back to what he was, if not better. And I think they said the exact description of the injury was a dislocated ankle. There was no breaks or anything, which I think is better in the situation. I think breaking would make things worse, possibly. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but a break sounds worse than a dislocation, if you know what I mean. It just maybe seems better, but yeah. We move on. Best of wishes to Harvey Elliott. Hopefully he recovers quickly and we can see him back in the Premier League doing as well as what he was before the injury. Now, let's get back onto the topic here. So, we have got our predictions for this week. And Jones says Lukaku's going to score a double against Tottenham. I mean, potentially. I hope Spurs somehow win, but that's just a United fan speaking. That's just my inner United fan speaking there. So, yeah. But Newcastle versus Leeds. I'm kind of torn now because I think Newcastle showed moments where they could do damage versus United, but United just literally has better players that cost more money. And this is coming from a United fan. We just have better players that we paid more money for that are just world class, and that's the reason why we came back and scored 4 goals. We didn't play particularly well at all. We didn't have much patterns of play apart from, picking up the tempo, which caused problems for Newcastle. But I think Leeds should cause Newcastle problems, and I think Leeds should win. Is Newcastle going to be good enough to score versus them? I think they will be. If Newcastle could score versus United, which has a much more solid defense than Leeds, I think they should score versus Leeds. And they don't have Llorente. They won't have Struijk unless he gets his red card rescinded. And I got a good feeling about St. Maximin against Leeds. Funny you should mention that. He's actually our differential pick for the forward slot. We'll get onto that in a second. But I think this could be a pretty interesting game. I think Leeds will definitely concede. I still think Leeds will score. Do I want to go 3-2? No, I'll go 2-1. I'll say Leeds win, but I think Newcastle will definitely score. Wolves versus Brentford. I think this could go very similarly to the way actually it panned out between Brighton and Brentford. I think Wolves should have the better chances. I think Wolves' defense is probably similar or on par with Brighton's, even though they didn't show it in the first 3 games. I'm actually going to go with the Wolves 1-0 win. I already picked him. Oh, so you already have him in your team? Yeah. I mean, St. Maximin's a fantastic player to watch. A complete enigma of the game. Like, he is... he dribbles past somebody and then will oftentimes go back and then try to... and just dribble past them again. I'm pretty sure just for fun. I mean, the guy came in wearing, what was it, Versace or a Gucci headband or whatever it was coming into the league. He is just completely just out of this world when it comes to dribbling. Also, Belanti X1, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. So yeah, he's just different. Like, I mean, Traore is another one. It's like, how is a guy that big, that fast? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Like, brain does not compute. So yeah. Burnley versus Arsenal. Now, this one could be a frustrating one for Arsenal, I think, because Burnley are the type of team to rough them up, cause some issues, and they didn't show me too much versus Norwich. So I think Burnley get a goal in this one, and I think it's just going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1 personally. That's how I see it. That's how I see it, unfortunately. Greenwood is the biggest bargain in fantasy football. Let's see, 7.5 million. I think the biggest initial bargain would have been Simicast, but probably over the whole, for the first 4 game weeks, I think you might be right. I think you might be right. I think the only player that probably rival him is probably Trent. Now, I know that doesn't necessarily make sense, because Trent is the most expensive defender in the game, but they're the same price, so Trent's been just as good as Greenwood this season. I mean, if we go to Trent's points this season, 6, 12, 4, 12. I mean, it's just bonkers. Greenwood scored 3 and got an assist. Like, they're both doing ridiculously well. Obviously, there's not much longevity in Greenwood potentially. When everyone's back fit, you'd think Rashford, Ronaldo, Sancho, Bruno Fernandes are the front 4. So, Antonio as well. Yeah, I completely forgot about Antonio. 7.5. I would probably say Antonio, Greenwood, and Trent for that price point. Like, in terms of points per million, they got to be up there. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. I think it should be pretty straightforward. They're going to do the exact same thing as what they did to Leeds. They should win pretty comfortably. I'm going to go 3-0. I think Crystal Palace trying to play a little bit more attacking football favors Liverpool, and it will cause them to get exposed. Although I thought Crystal Palace did quite well to beat Spurs. So, Man City versus Southampton. Again, pretty straightforward. I'm going to go 3-0. They're at home. They should do quite well. They need to score a good bit of goals versus these lower opposition teams. Because that's what helped City in the past. They won a title off goal difference. So, Liverpool are scoring goals. Chelsea are scoring goals. They need to score more goals as well. I mean, they've gotten 2 5-0 wins. But City will do what City does. And I think they'll need to keep that up throughout the season. Because their system has or can have a tendency to run dry. Basically, can create boatloads of chances every game. But can they have somebody consistently putting the ball in the back of the net game in, game out? Norwich versus Watford, I think this is an interesting one. I think Watford away from home is probably susceptible to conceding, but I think ultimately Watford will win the game. I'm going to go 2-1. Hopefully Sarr gets something for us in that one. If you could somehow fit Lukaku, Ronaldo, and either Salah or Bruno, you'd have lots of points. You would, but you can't captain all of them. So the problem with those players is, if you're not captaining them, when they score, you lose rank most times. The reason that is because you have ownership of players. So if there's a player, so like Salah last week, Salah for me, against me, was 129% ownership, which means that Salah actually gained, like his points were more than what they were worth against me specifically because I didn't have him. Even if I did have Salah, 29% of the points that he got would still hit me if I didn't captain him. Because what happens is, when you captain a player, it's like you have Salah twice in your team. So once that threshold reaches above 100%, having that player isn't enough. You need to captain them. Which is why Antonio getting a red when he was over 100% ownership is actually a good thing, even though you have him in your team. So having all of those players will probably hurt your rank more than not, unless every week you captain the one that has the most, that gets the most points. So if you could have all those players in your team, and every week you pick the one that scores the hat trick or whatever, basically, then you'll be golden. Obviously, that's just kind of how it works. But also fitting 3 of those players in your team is very difficult without hurting the rest of it. Until later on in the season when we have more money available. Aston Villa versus Everton. So, Aston Villa, I think, can score versus Everton, but Everton have been doing quite well. I think Aston Villa will get a goal, but I think Everton will probably win the game. I'm going to go 2-1 there as well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go 2-2. I think Aston Villa might get a goal or 2 early, and then Everton will come back and nick it. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. A little bit of a shootout there. I had Lukaku as captain last week, so you would have been happy as well, much like all the Ronaldo captainers. I believe they were top scorers this week with the braces. Brighton versus Leicester. Now, contrary to belief here, I think Brighton could potentially win this game, you know. I don't see anything good from Leicester. Brighton at home is going to be quite good, potentially. I think Brighton at least get a point. Can they hold out Leicester? If Iheanacho comes on the pitch, I think he probably scores. So I'm going to say Iheanacho comes on the pitch later on after Brighton's going up 1-0, and then it ends up being 1-1. I think Brighton have been playing quite well, and I just don't really see much from Leicester personally. Man United versus West Ham. I mean, West Ham don't have Antonio, so I think that hinders them significantly. So I think that United are going to definitely win this one. I mean, it's going to be a lot easier with them not having Antonio. Do I think West Ham will find a way to score? Probably, because United seem to find ways to just randomly give up a clean sheet. But I think it's going to be a 3-1 is what I'll go with. Because West Ham are quite leaky at the back as well. And then Spurs versus Chelsea, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I think no Son means no goals, and I think that Chelsea will win 2-0. I think it's pretty straightforward. I think Brighton is the team that will surprise everyone this season. Last season, they were fantastic. They just... Their stats showed everything. It's just they just didn't perform to those stats. This season, I think they could end up around like 11th or 10th, which would be a fantastic season for them. Hey, Mono, how's it going? Good evening to you as well. And this week, I've actually gone with Brighton as the clean sheet. Now, I have predicted them to be a 1-1, but I think it's only if Iheanacho comes on the pitch, personally. So I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit, maybe hedging my bets. But yeah, I've gone with Brighton to be my clean sheet this week, even though the prediction doesn't necessarily say that. The same thing for Nick Pope. I think Nick Pope could do well this week. I think Arsenal are the type of team that don't really create much clear-cut chances. Pope's definitely a good enough goalkeeper. Everton's chances were very, very straightforward. It made it so that Pope was basically unsavable in pretty much all situations for all 3 goals. But Pope can definitely save half chances. He's very good at that. I think Burnley's the type of team that Arsenal will hate to play against, especially at Turf Moor. So I think Pope could do well. João Cancelo, I think he is a fantastic defender. He's only 8% owned as well. I think he's potentially going to be in my wildcard team, almost certainly, if he continues to get regular starts like he's been doing. Super creative. I think he got 12 points this week as well in game week 4. And it could be another clean sheet on the cards versus Southampton. I mean, Man City and Chelsea are just clean sheet magnets. Game week 8 wildcards are going to be Man City and Chelsea just heavy in those teams. So it's going to be very, very intriguing to see kind of what those wildcards kind of look like, because they're going to be a lot different from what teams are like now as players slowly catch on to that. I've also gone with Smith Rowe this week. I think if there's someone who can kind of open up Burnley or create some form of invention, I think it's going to be Smith Rowe. I was going to pick Saka, but he was slightly higher on, so I'll go with Smith Rowe because I think he could be the one to kind of spur Arsenal on or get Aubameyang in behind. You know, he came back. I think he was ill or something like that, so I think he should be good for a start this week. And I think you need his type of player to break down a Burnley defense. And then lastly, St. Maximin. I mean, Jones mentioned it in the chat. I think 6.4% owned. I think he could be fantastic versus Leeds this week. And, you know, the upcoming fixtures aren't terrible. This is why I wanted to keep Wilson, because, you know, Leeds, Watford, and Wolves. I mean, they could all do well in those 3 fixtures. Now, it is Newcastle, and that's not really saying too much, but I still think that they could do well. So, yeah. Those are my predictions and differentials for the week. And we'll post those over on Twitter as we normally do. So we'll just close all of those. And we'll go over to the team as it currently stands. So this is how we're looking. We should probably move the vice captaincy off Antonio. I will put it on... We'll put it on Trent for funsies. for funsies. No DCL and Everton clean sheet kicked out helped rank for most. Yeah, when I saw DCL wasn't starting, I was like, okay, now we just need a Burnley goal, and my red arrow is not going to be as big. But then Damari Gray scored, which kind of didn't help, but it is what it is. So yeah, our rank went from, what was it, 70k to 89k. So again, in a week where I took a hit, and the main player that I didn't want to score scored, and he got a clean sheet, so he ended up getting, what did Salah end up getting? 3 plus 5. I don't think he got any bonus. So he basically matched Fernandez. So if there was a week where Salah only scored 1 goal against me and I got a smaller red arrow, wasn't the end of the world. But again, our differentials didn't show up. So Ayling only got 1 point. Veltman got us a clean sheet, or a clean sheet worthy in number of points with 6, so that was fine. But Sarr got nothing, Mount got nothing, Ings got nothing. So that was kind of the disappointing factor. You know, we need a couple of those players to hit if we want to be boosting our rank, because so like I think I ended up with, so it's 66 points with the hit, but I think my what's called a safety score on live FPL, which is basically like my gray arrow, so I don't lose rank, I don't gain rank, would have been 68 points. So we were a couple off that. You plan for Bruno to Salah this week? Yep. That's what we're looking to do. That's what we're looking to do. So that's going to be our transfer, and we're going to wait for the Champions League games to finish just to be, you know, 100% sure. We're going to look to keep Antonio as well if we can. So that's going to be the transfer. So we have 0.8 million in the bank. If we wanted to take a hit, we could do. Now the question is, where would we go? The most we can get is a 5.3 if we got rid of Ayling. We couldn't get a 5.5 million midfielder, but like we could do like Simicast to Marcel, even though I really don't want his 2 assists were extremely fluky, personally. Very, very fluky. And I would go for somebody a bit more nailed on. You know he's going to play. He's the captain of the team in Cody. And he would come in for sure. Inks to Bamford. Don't necessarily need to. Bamford's away from home this week, whereas Inks is at home. I think Everton are still potentially leaky at the back. So, like, if we look at all of Everton's games, you know, the only game that they didn't concede in was against Brighton. All the teams that have halfway decent, like, people up front, so like Leeds have halfway decent players. Southampton have, you know, they made a mistake and they conceded. So again, a mistake versus Ings is guaranteed goal for Ings. And then Burnley. I mean, Burnley have Chris Wood, who's a halfway decent striker. And they scored as well. So, yeah, it was from a set piece from Ben Mee. But even still, I think Everton, the only reason they're doing so well is because they're playing against teams which they should be beating anyway. Aston Villa could give them a test. Norwich they should beat. Let's see how they do when they play United. Let's see how they do when they play West Ham. Let's see how they do when they play, you know, this run here with Spurs, Liverpool, and Man City. We'll see what they're really made of then. But with Calvert-Lewin out until, what, October 2nd, you know, he's out for the good fixtures, basically. So if you have him, I'd sell him, personally. But, yeah, that's the only consideration is, do we take a hit this week, or do we maintain our team, not take a hit, and just go with the flow and just play, just hope that Veltman doesn't concede versus Leicester. I mean, he is at home. Can Leicester open up Brighton? I mean, I'm actually going to check off to the side here what the Leicester versus Brighton results have been all time. Let's see. Leicester versus Brighton history. Let's see. So, in the Premier League, they won 2-1 versus Brighton. They won 1-0. They won 3-0. They drew 0-0. Leicester won 2-0, 2-1. So it's not a very high scoring. Like Leicester don't score more than a couple at most. It's not going to be that high scoring. So maybe if Brighton get a goal early, maybe it helps them out. But we'll see. We'll see. Price changes as well. Damari Gray, Ronaldo, Marcel, and Pogba, with Williams and Duffy and Kovacic close. Then you have Tella, Simicast, Mahrez, Aït-Nouri, Mason Mount apparently. Brownhill, Tony, Buendia, Bailey. Well, I think Mason Mount will go back up once he comes back in the team and does well. Souček, Cavaseli, Rose, Aarons, Iheanacho, Taylor, Vidra, Loughton, Young, Martinez, Willock, Balogun, Long, Klein, Fernandez with the Z, Lo Celso, Forster, the Southampton goalkeeper, Dean Henderson, Roselev, I think this is Brentford, Lacazette, and Bailly from Man United all look to be going down, and those are just estimations. So, yeah. Gilmore could play for Antonio. Gilmore potential assist. Yeah, I mean, that's true. If he comes in versus Watford, I mean, I'll play him. I'll play him over Veltman. Because if he does play, he's more likely to get... because if the most likely score is going to be 2-1, then... you know, Veltman's not likely going to get an assist out of anything, but Gilmore, I don't know, we'll see. I have Gilmore in you know, first, because I think he's more likely to potentially get something or you know, play or whatever. But we'll see, yeah. I have the bench ordered in this way, just in case. Actually, what I might do, just in case, I'm going to do that. And the reason being I'm going to do that is because Liverpool play AC Milan in the Champions League, and they play on a Wednesday. And then their their game on the weekend is 11 o'clock on the Saturday. So it's a much quicker turnaround than the likes of United. So United play Tuesday, Sunday. So United have a way bigger like gap. So they can probably play the first team and play the first team again, whereas Liverpool might have to make some changes. So maybe he plays Robertson in the Champions League and then plays Simicast versus Palace, because Simicast is probably good enough to play well versus Palace. Like, I mean, he showed he could play well. So, I mean, I'll put him first just in case, because if he does start, I mean, Liverpool are probably going to get a clean sheet. So, and I think if he starts, out of those three players, who's more likely to do something? Simicast probably is. Any opinions on having Shaw, Benrahma, Greenwood, and Ronaldo for the one game? Just hope United smash them to bits, basically. That's pretty much it. If you're gonna hope that United could, basically your ideal is United concede a goal, Benrahma's the one who scores. United win the game 3-1. Ronaldo scores a brace from a set piece from a Luke Shaw assist, and then Greenwood scores an open play goal from a Ronaldo assist or something like that. That's what you just hope. You just hope your players are involved. It's gonna happen. I have the same thing currently, but I'm gonna have Salah instead of Fernandez, but I'll still have 3 players in that game. So it is what it is. You holding Benrahma until game week 7? Probably. Yeah, I think so. Because I think that, you know, they can still do well versus Leeds and Brentford. The Man United game, I mean, he's against my team. If Benrahma scores, it's probably actually better for FPL. Because for those that got rid of him, Benrahma's scoring with 31.4% ownership versus Shaw's 44.1% gets me more points. Benrahma scoring gets me 5 points. Losing Shaw's clean sheet gets me -4 points. So I still gain 1 point at the end of it. Who would I rather have the points, Benrahma or Shaw? Rather be with Benrahma. That's just how it is. But I hope Benrahma doesn't get too many points. I mean, if Benrahma's going to score a hat trick, I hope that, you know, Shaw gets 3 assists. That's what I hope. You know, that's kind of how it works. Ronaldo captain could be a thing as well. Just permanently, just stick the armband on Ronaldo for forever. But again, going back to, I think it was Jones's point with having all the premiums in your team. Basically, you're going to have a situation. I don't think many players are going to captain Lukaku this week just because Spurs on paper is like, oh, it looks scary. Because Spurs are traditionally a top 6 team. You know, Ronaldo, West Ham away. They'll see FDR rating of 4. Oh, West Ham are a good team. Might not captain him. And people will see Salah. Oh, he's at home to Crystal Palace. Well, stick the armband on him. What are you doing? It's Salah at home. He's going to score, right? So that's what most managers are going to go for. But I would not be surprised in the slightest because of how highly owned Ronaldo is already, that he might not be more than 100% effective ownership. Now, if Ronaldo scores a hat-trick, I'm going to be wheeling around the house, spinning the shirt around, you know, in celebration. Whether he drops my rank or not because he's over 100% effective ownership. I don't care because I'm a United fan. And that's where kind of you have to put biases aside. But you have to have these players in your team because if you're like me last week, the week gone, and you didn't have Salah, he just burned you for even more. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I think if you have Salah this week, I think he's going to be the best captaincy shout. I'm not actually doing a captaincy video this week. We're doing buy, hold, sell, lineup preview, and then the deadline stream. So, well, actually, let's talk about the captaincies right now. So, in my opinion, the best fixture of the week is this one. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. I think Salah's the best captain this week, hands down. It's not even close. If you could nail down a City player, I would say it would be close. So if you knew like Ferran Torres was starting up front versus Southampton, and you knew he was going to get 90 minutes, then I would say it's close. But I think Salah versus Crystal Palace is just too easy. Salah's the FPL GOAT. I mean, he is quite good. He is quite good. And then if I had to pick a third fixture, maybe the Leeds Newcastle game because anything's possible there. But I think Salah at home to Crystal Palace. Like even for the next 3 weeks. Next week it's a difficult decision. United at home to Villa. Or Liverpool away to Brentford. Interesting that they have 2 games on at 8:30, which is really weird, and Chelsea Man City is one of them, which is just bizarre. I wonder if they're going to change this game to 11, because I know the United one had to get moved because of some concert or something. Well, I mean, I guess they can't unless they put the Liverpool. They could potentially put the Liverpool-Brentford game at 8:30 and then move the Chelsea-Man City one to the 1:30 my time. So that'd be 12:30 and 5:30 for UK time. But then that would be a whole bunch of swapping and changing around. Then game week 7, I mean, Chelsea, you know, versus Southampton looks to potentially be the best. With United probably being very, very close, if not better, potentially. But, again, we'll see. Let's update the watch list. So, Lloris is definitely coming off the watch list because, again, Spurs' stats finally caught up with them. I think Raya can stay on the watch list. You know, he is a goalkeeper that will make saves. We'll see how he does versus Wolves because they are creating a lot of chances. So, we'll keep him on there. Jose Sa, he's going to stay on there. For sure. Alonso, I mean, the guy just keeps playing, man. The guy just keeps playing. So he's going to have to stay on there. Cancelo Diaz, definitely. Reguilon's coming off because Spurs, they went from +3 goal difference to 0. Christensen's coming off the watch list because he got rotated. Luca Digne is coming off the watch list because they can't keep clean sheets to save their souls, and he's not providing anything on that front. Semedo's going to stay on the watch list. Damari Gray is going to stay on the watch list. Ferran Torres will stay on the watch list. Decore will stay on the watch list as well, getting 2 assists tonight. Fornals will stay on the watch list because I think he's very low owned and underrated. Jota is going to stay on the watch list for the time being. Grealish will stay. Sarr, Mount, Havertz, Rafinha, Trincao, and Traore. Jesus, Lukaku, Calvert-Lewin's going to come off the watch list because he's injured. Vardy. I think Vardy's probably going to stay on the watch list as well. Richarlison's definitely going to stay. Bamford, Dennis, Armstrong, Jimenez. And Kane's going to come off the watch list as long as Son is injured, personally. If Son's injured, I have no interest in Kane whatsoever. My team is Sanchez, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ben White, Luke Shaw, Ayling. Let me just move this down so you guys can see that. Greenwood, Jota, Salah, Benrahma, Ronald, the Red, Tony, and Duffy, Brownhill, and Antonio. May move up Benrahma or Tony. Oh, excuse me. I don't think you need to do anything with that team, to be honest. Because you still have Duffy, you still have Brownhill as 2 bench players. I think if you had maybe one defender that was like, oh, could potentially play, might not play. And then your other players were like just blank players. So like as an example, like Gilmore didn't play last game. And Antonio is suspended. So I might be like, oh, well, I need to bring somebody in. Otherwise, I'll risk a blank if somebody doesn't play. So that's my kind of decision that I might need to make. But I don't think you need to do anything with that team. I think you can save a transfer. Brentford have... who do Brentford have this week? They have Wolves, so Tony could score versus them. Personally. Yeah, I think you're fine. Yeah, I think you're fine. You got triple Liverpool. You've got... Ben White, Ayling, Shaw. Yeah, I mean those are all fine. I mean I do worry about the Leeds clean sheets personally, but yeah, I think your team is fine for this week. Hang on to Antonio, I think personally, especially if you still have the wild card. I don't think you need to make any moves for anything unless there's like another injury in your team or something like that happens. So like if you find out that you know, Greenwood's injured or Jota's injured or whoever, then maybe make a move. But I think you can roll a transfer. Personally, basically you just have to kind of have to look at your team in a way where you can say, do I really need to do anything? Like you look at your team, you say, is there anything wrong with this player? Is there anything wrong with this player? So like if you just go down the list, is there anything wrong with Sanchez? No. Trent? No. White? No. Shaw? No. Ayling? No. Greenwood? No. Jota? No. Salah? No. Benrahma? No. Ronaldo? No. Tony? Maybe. But he has a decent fixture this week. Duffy? No. Brownhill? I mean, he's a bench player for a reason. No. Antonio? He's coming back next week. No. So the only real player you could be like, is Tony. Possibly. You know, could you have could you want Leeds players, you know, going into this run? Of course. But they could have a stinker versus Newcastle and then you don't want them. Right? See how they do. Wait and assess the situation first. See how things go. Because remember, you can always get them next week. Oh yeah, Rafinha did well versus Newcastle. Okay, well let's bring him in then. Because Rafinha hasn't shown me much. Bamford hasn't shown me much. Ayling's not shown me much. You know, there's no Leeds player where I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely want them. You know, there's none where I'm really like, oh, they're brilliant. I want them. So, at least like not over like Benrahma or anyone like that. Like Greenwood and Jota are definitely just they're staying in your team. Benrahma, maybe there's an argument to say that Rafinha is better, but it's only just for this particular fixture this week. But United's defenses can concede. I mean, we concede stupid goals all the time. So maybe Benrahma gets something. Who knows? So, yeah, I think any chance where you can not necessarily guarantee yourself to roll a transfer, but you can kind of be like, this is a good week too, or I'm able to roll it here because I can get a little bit more information. It's probably better to do that. Like, especially for Leeds this week. Like, Leeds, I was considering, I was like, oh, well, maybe I can go for Bamford or something like that. And I was like, but why, though? They haven't shown me anything, really. Like, how many return... Like, Bamford's got, what? 1 goal, 1 assist this season. Okay, for 8 million, he's... That's not much. So what's that? 16 points, so he's averaging 4 points a game. Woo! It's not really doing anything. Rafinha, 12 points. He's averaging 3 points a game for 6.5 million. He's got the same amount of points, I'm pretty sure, as Buendia. Buendia's got more points and he didn't even play last week. You know? So, I mean, yeah, Rafinha would be a good player to potentially add to your team, but, you know, is he going to be what we want him to be? Who knows? He might be the guy who's always looks like he could be doing everything, but then ends up just doing kind of nothing. So, we'll see. In terms of players that we're going to add to the watch list, Arsenal, no, I don't think I'm going to add anyone. Villa, I'm going to add Ollie Watkins to the list because I thought he played quite well. He just needs to learn how to pass or finish, you know, the basic striker things. He does seem to, like, kind of lose his mind, basically, when he gets in front of goal. Brentford, no. Brighton, probably not. When's Lamptey expected to be back? Following week. So we don't have to put him on the list as of yet. Chelsea, I'm going to put on Mendy. Because I think he could be a set and forget goalkeeper. And yeah, I think that's probably about it. Do I have Lukaku on the watch list? Yes, I do, because it just makes the most sense. Crystal Palace, we're going to put Edward on the watch list. We're going to add him to the watch list for sure. Everton, no. Leeds, no. Leicester, no. Liverpool, no. Man City, no. Man United, no. Newcastle. Do we have St. Maximin on the watch list? If not, we should. We'll add him to the watch list. Norwich, no. Southampton, no. Spurs, no. Watford, no. West Ham, no. Wolves, no. So yeah, I think we have we've updated our watch list successfully. But yeah, definitely the main ones that I'm looking at. Edward could potentially be a little cheeky little differential. We need to see more from Leeds. Chelsea, the clean sheets just seem to be, they're on the roll again. I mean, they got 3 and 4 so far, so we'll have to see kind of how they do, because they could be a lot on the wild cards. So yeah, so let's just run through the team before we sign off here. So this is the team currently thus far. So we've got Sanchez in goal, Ayling, Alexander-Arnold, Shaw, Mason Mount, Benrahma, Sarr, Fernandes, Ings, Antonio, and Ronaldo, with the captaincy currently on him, with Begovic, Tsimikas, Gilmore, and Veltman. Now, Antonio's obviously not going to play because he is suspended and red flagged, and that's what that means. Which means if I had to pick one of the players to come in, if they did start, it would be Tsimikas. And is there a chance that Tsimikas could start? Maybe. Liverpool play Wednesday, Saturday, so maybe there's a chance that, you know, Robertson plays in the Champions League. Tsimikas gets the easy game and comes in for Robertson. Gives him a little bit of a break. Yeah, maybe that's the case. If not, then, you know, we have to hope that Gilmore and Veltman get something, because they're going to have to replace Antonio. Transfer this week, almost certainly going to be Fernandes out for the likes of Mo Salah, and he will take the armband over Ronaldo because he has the home fixture, and I think it's just a better fixture in general. So, That's what we would go for. Ronaldo would take the vice captaincy, of course. And then the only other option would potentially be if we wanted to shore up our team a little bit more, we'd have an additional 0.8 million after the transfer of Fernandes out to Salah. We could get the likes of Cody as an additional defender for Tsimikas, basically. And that would leave us 0.3 million in the bank. And then all of our moves after that would be just downgrades or easy to do. So the following week it could be Ings to Jimenez, which would be we'd gain money on that. And then in game week 7 we would be looking to potentially get Trent out for a Chelsea defender. And then game week 8 we'd wildcard. So yeah, that's what we would go for. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed it. So yeah, let's just talk about Fantasy Football Scout just one more time. Now, if you enjoy FPL as much as I do, and as much as Ronaldo has been enjoying his time at United thus far, you should probably get involved with Fantasy Football Scout because it's going to help elevate your FPL game. You can access to customizable Opta stats tables, and you can help yourself be more informed and be able to see the differences between players stats-wise, who's where they are in the box, heat map wise, how many shots are they taking, all that sorts of stuff. And the membership, you can get that in the About section, so make sure to go check that out. It's going to help your FPL game. Any opinion on Pookie or Wood for game week 5 to 7? I wouldn't be going there personally. I just wouldn't be going there. Can't really trust Norwich, to be honest. And Burnley just look all over the place personally, so I wouldn't touch them at all. Maybe if they show something and then we can look at them further down the line, but I wouldn't be going there. But yeah, that's going to do it for the Game Week 5 preview. Hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good stream. Glad to be into a new game week as well. There's going to be a lot more football. It's going to seem like the week's going to fly by now because it's going to be, there's a game tonight. Champions League Tuesday, Champions League on Wednesday, Europa League on Thursday. The game week starts on Friday, matches on Saturday and Sunday, and then midweek games again, all the way up until the next international break. So fasten in your seatbelts. It's going to be a fast ride into the next international break. So hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't done so already, make sure to follow us here on Twitch. And if you're watching this over on YouTube, subscribe, like the video, make sure to comment down below what you think my transfers should be, what transfers you're planning on doing as well. We still have a little bit of time. We want to assess the Champions League games as well, so you get rested and that sort of stuff. And yeah, don't do any early transfers. Always get as much information as possible, unless it would price you out of a move indefinitely that you would definitely want. So if you, let's say as an example, if your player went down and you couldn't get Salah this coming week, then I would do it beforehand and just take that risk. But thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.